United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we thank you for granting us the privilege to meet tonight. We ask for your blessing, wisdom, and guidance as we conduct the business of the village. Amen.
Amen.
All right, today's October 28th, 2024, calling the meeting to order. Roll call.
Cheney,
Yes.
Mauer,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Percy,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yep.
Motion to approve the minutes of the October 14th regular meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes of the October 14th regular council meeting.
Second.
Powell,
Yes.
Percy,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Mauer,
Yes.
Cheney,
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yep.
I don't have any correspondence, but we do have a citizen here, Jed, of course, from Job and Family Services. If you'd like to take the podium, sir.
Got handouts for you guys. I have 4 and 5, so that way Jessica can get one and one side out.
Aw, thanks.
If you'd like one, I can give one to you too. I got it.
You're gonna make it remind me. It was your meeting, sorry.
So I just want to make sure everybody grabs it. So the purpose of my visit, and I appreciate the time to talk to you guys today. This can be interactive as all get out. So if you've got questions, fire them at me because I want to answer the questions that everybody has. So again, I appreciate the time, but the purpose I'm here is, as most of you are aware, election season is upon us. And Tuesday, if you haven't voted by now, is the day to vote. And JFS is pursuing a replacement levy. It's a 1 mil 5-year levy. Our current levy has been on the books for 30 years. It was put in place in 1995 and has been renewed every year or every 5 years since then. So, but
Wait, did you say 95 was 30 years ago?
almost 30 years, 29 plus. So
You getting old?
it is. So you're looking, at a levy that is collecting on a 1995 tax basis, okay? So why is our levy necessary? Well, everything is going up. The cost of the kids we have in placement. Now, mind you, when I talk about the placement costs that we have, these are the kids that my agency has custody of. We've been awarded court order to take custody of these children. Currently, as of Friday, we had 63. And to give you an example, we took custody of 6 more today. Just today, we took 6 more. Okay. From 2017, on your first page there, if you look at the graph, from 2017 to 2024, the cost that I pay for the kids in care has escalated over 175%. And the crazy thing about the cost that I'm talking about, my agency has zero control over. I can't influence those in any way. We've done a lot of statistical studies statewide, and it is a state and national problem, but we've got to face it locally as well. Okay. So that's the biggest thing. We need to offset the rising costs of the kids we have in care. The second thing is without some of the levy dollars, I cannot access state and federal funding. What I do with the little bit of levy dollars I get is I go after more state and federal funding, leverage that to bring it down to offset additional costs. It's also essentials for the support and services that we provide our kids. And then finally, it really shows the commitment to not only the kids that we have in our care, but the workers that do the work every day. Okay. So there's more than just a financial into that. On the right side, again, that graph, I did some comparison for the last several years, but if you look at 2017, just a 7-year block, again, our costs have gone up over 175%. So to continue on, why is it necessary? Our costs range, because one of the questions I get from the community is, what does it cost for you guys per kid? What ranges? It goes from $25 to $800+ a day per child. And that varies upon is what is the needs of the child that we have in care. Is that child placed in with a kin? Is that child placed in foster placement? Is that child placed in a residential, a treatment facility? What's the needs of the child? We have to look at that on a case-by-case basis. It is not cookie cutter. And some of these costs, we actually, sometimes it becomes, I hate to say it, but a bidding war with some of the facilities that we need. and it stinks. And I'm actively involved to fix that at another level, but again, costs that I can't control. For August alone, my August, what I call my placement cost for August was over $238,000. We're projecting September is going to be about 240, potentially 260. So they just keep creeping up there. Our average for the year, we were way down at the beginning of the year. I was very ecstatic. We were, 40 some kids in care. We were averaging about 160,000 a month, which is good. But it shot up so greatly over the course of the year that right now, through the month of August, we're averaging over $210,000 I have to pay in placement costs alone. If you look at the estimated daily cost per child there on the left, you can see how it was kind of flat line, and then unfortunately in 24 you see the spike straight up. Okay, again, I want to emphasize these costs, I have zero control. Nobody in this room, nobody in this county has any control of those costs. So if we look at it, I've projected through the end of the year, we're going to hit about $2.5, $2.6 million that we have to pay for the kids that we have in custody. That is 144% higher than what it was in 2017. As of the end of close of August, we've paid $1.8 million already. We've already exceeded what I paid the entire year last year. Again, the sad thing is I have zero control over these costs. But our agency, what I try to explain to people is our agency is mandated to provide these services and programs. I can't say, I'm out of money, guys, I can't take this child. If I get a call and a child's being abused or neglected, we've got to respond, and we're going to respond. Okay, I look at it as our kids deserve the best that we have, and that's what we're trying to provide. I can't say, well, I can't send you to a placement facility in Arkansas because it costs me too much. And yes, I do have a kid placed in Arkansas, by the way. After 260 calls nationwide, we found 2 places. One was in Kentucky. We got her placed in Kentucky, was doing great. And then we were notified that facility was under investigation. I'm not leaving my kid at a place that's under investigation. So we had to work collaboratively. We worked with the state on this. We had daily calls with the state. We worked with a program called Ohio Rise to assist us with this because we leverage every program we can. We finally found this place in Arkansas, and we were able to get her transported to Arkansas. So what's that mean? I have to fly a worker down once a month to make sure this kid is seen and she's okay. All right. So the type of levy we're pursuing, again, as I said, is a replacement. What's the difference? A replacement is just that. It's replacing what I currently have. So the one that's been on the books since 1995, 29 plus years, will fall off, and this one will take its place. In essence, it's basically just catching us up to today's markets and standards, okay? The new levy, again, same dollar amount. 1995, what I'm currently collecting is about 45% effectiveness rate. It's 0.456, I believe, from 1995. Generates me about $400,000 to $450,000 a year. That's it. Just by replacing it, that collections will go up to $811,000. I want to be very clear. These dollars do not go anywhere other than the placement costs of the kids we have in care. One of the misconceptions out there is that we pay salaries and wages and benefits and we do this and we do. That's false. Zero. No, nothing. No pennies, nothing goes towards my staff costs. That's a whole separate pot of money. This money specifically goes for the care of the kids we have. That is it. Okay. So that's what we're looking at. If you look there on the right-hand side, the levy funds collected since 2017 have plummeted. And again, nobody's fault. It's just that's how it works. We are less now than what we were just 2 years ago by a significant amount. So I tried to show you guys exactly how our levies just dissipated, and it's putting us in a very tough situation. Okay. To give you a comparable, in 1995, $1,000 in 1995 to equate that in today's dollars, about $474. I've lost 53% of my purchasing power with that. That's why our effectiveness rate on our current levy is only 0.45. Okay, that's just a quick example. Again, to stress what our levy funds are used for, it's 100% goes to my placement costs. And everybody says, well, Jed, what are placement costs? Think about everything you pay for your kids, or somebody you've been obligated to take care of, or you have custody of, or you're the guardian of. I have to pay that for every kid I have in custody. And as I said, we're probably pushing 65 plus right now. So if somebody needs room and board, I have to pay for that. If they need shoes, shirts, clothes, sporting activities, backpacks, you name it, I have to pay for it. Okay. Sometimes we can find grants and stuff that do that, but most of the time it has to come out of some of our local dollars. Again, we leverage these dollars to pull in state and federal dollars to allow us to do a lot of this stuff. So if you look at it, our supportive services, we have a couple different specialized caseworkers. One that specifically deals with those who have addiction issues. It's called our Ohio Start program. We've had some great success with that, and we're ramping that up even more. We're working with the state on a program called Ohio Rise. It is a grant program. We're working with them. And we continue to leverage everything we can so we don't have a bigger burden on our local community as the best we can. The biggest thing though is room and board, and I'll get into some of the misconceptions or misinformation here a little bit later, but somebody says, well, if they're on Medicaid, Medicaid pays for everything, and that's 100% false. That's not even close to true. Even if they have a medical condition, Medicaid you have to meet specific requirements for them to get that paid for. If Medicaid doesn't pay for it, I'm obligated to pay for it, okay? If somebody comes in, we do look at all of our programs and services. So if they are eligible for Medicaid for the medical expenses, we put them on there. We look for everything we can do to try to leverage everything that we can. All right. Some of the programs and services I touched on really briefly for you. We have intensive case management. So Coshocton's philosophy has been, I've been with our agency 18 years. I've been the director for the last two and a half. Our philosophy has always been, and I can stress this even more, we investigate everything up front and remove as a last resort. We do not want to go and remove children unless we have to. That is another misconception. We do exhaustive investigation. Right now, I only have 2, maybe 3 workers in my intake unit. I have an open position that I've been fighting to fill for 6 weeks. But so they go in and they do all the investigation. They gather the facts. They do what they got to do. They present the case in court. Or if something's very egregious, we can call and get an instant removal, emergency custody. That's if it meets certain criteria. We just don't go and say, I think it does this. No, there's guidelines and there's criterion that we have to meet in order to remove. So, misinformation out there, they like coming in and taking kids. No, we don't. The system's not meant to raise kids, point blank. It's just not. We got some preventative services. A lot of people don't realize that. We have a lot of people call and say, hey, this is going on. What can we do? If we don't have the service, we're going to tie you to the service in the community. So we try to network very well in our community. I will say that is probably one of the strongest things we have going for us is our community collaboration. We work with our court systems, mental health. We work with addiction services. We have counseling services. We're very well ingrained into the schools. You name it, we're involved if we can be. Okay, again, it's just a resource. And I mentioned the Ohio Start program. That was a grant program that we have an intensive caseworker plus what they call a peer mentor. So if there's somebody that has been involved with is involved with children's services and they have addiction issues, they go into an intensive specialized caseload so we can try to prevent them from going to court and us having to remove the children. We've been successful with it. There's been a few that haven't, and we got to do what we got to do. And then we also offer foster and adopt services. Last year alone, we had 17 adoptions. We've not had adoptions that high in a long time. Right now, I was notified Friday. It's a high possibility I'll have 9 to 10 adoptions by the end of the year, or by the end of the year, maybe into January. So that's a good thing. Our first goal was reunification. As I said, we don't want to keep families apart. We want families together. That's where kids belong, is with mom and dad, if it's appropriate. But if it's not the case, we're not going to put a kid back in harm's way. But adoption can be a good thing. That means these kids are getting permanency. They're in a family that loves them and everything else. So, and I got a story. I'll share a story with you on that one. Everybody likes to get to this. I'm very well aware. What will it cost me? So, I'll be straightforward. When I started down this road, I'm very well aware that the property values, due to a state mandate, have been reassessed. Something I have no control over again. But what I tried to do is there on the bottom, I like to stress 2 things. I could talk to you about how much it's going to cost you per 100,000 and things like that, but that's confusing. I'm going to tell you why. You got to look at, there's a market value for your property, and then you have an assessed value. I honestly didn't know the difference until I started doing this. I'm not going to lie to you guys, okay? Market value, look at it this way. If I was to say, hey, Jesse, what are you going to sell your house at? And she'd tell me, that's a market value, okay? Point blank. But what I try to explain and have learned over the last several years is your tax collections is based off the assessed value. So you take 35% of your market value, and that is the assessed value, and that's what you pay taxes on, okay? The other thing I'll throw out right now, I have asked for clarification for those of us on CAUVs or the homestead tax. neglected to bring the flyer, I'll gladly send it if you want it. If you have and qualify for your CAUV or your homestead tax, please, I encourage you to continue to pursue those. That gets you a discounted tax rate based off what you use property for. It could be age, blind, disability, things like that. So please pursue those if you want. But the assessed value again is at 35%. So if you want to see truly how this is going to affect you, and I encourage you to do this, and if you need help, I'll give you all my contact information. I'll gladly help you. If you go to CoshcoAuditor.org, they just redid their website, by the way. When I first started doing this, it was one way, and I went in a couple weeks ago. I was like, well, that changed. You can put your name or your address in, and it will specifically tell you. There is a summary right there at the top. It'll have our levy on it, it'll have the EMS levy on it, and it'll have any other levies wherever your municipality is and how that affects you. And it'll tell you how to affect you. I'm not going to lie to you. Our levy will potentially increase a little bit, okay, but it's replacement. But make sure you're looking at the difference. So if it's, and I'll be honest, I just built a house out in Plainfield, moved out there in 2021. Yeah, my taxes all screwed up, finally got it saved. But it's going to increase mine by about $26 a year. I need to stress that it's annual increase. It's not monthly. Okay, it's a couple bucks a month. I know budgets are tight. I know everybody's doing what they got to do. But you know, if you look at that, we're either going to find a way where we can control and leverage more dollars on the front end, or we're going to have to pay for it on the back end as well. Okay, so give you some couple breaks down. I'm not going to read line by line. If you take a look there, I just did some estimations there for you. By the way, that chart down here is not official in any way. I use the formula that they use, and I just wanted to break it down. So, for example, if you have I'll use a $150,000 home right now, your taxable value is $52,500. At 1 mil, you'll pay $52.50 annually. That breaks down to a little over $4 a month. You know, everybody says, well, Jed, that's, you know, the average price of Coshocton County home right now, and this is countywide, is about $167,000. So I'll go up to $175,000 to be fair. So that's at $61,250. You're paying $61.25 annually, a little over $5 a month. Okay, and then it just continuously goes up. And again, I'm not going to insult your intelligence or the graph to you because you guys are smart people. Okay, but I do encourage you to go to that website and let your friends know, go to that website, see what it's going to do to increase it. So the other thing I like to get into is false information. False information drives me batty. Okay, I have done nothing but fight a lot of false information because people just don't know. So my goal is not only during this levy campaign, but beyond, and has been for the first 2 years, is I want to educate the public. Okay. First off, as I said, our levy will not pay any wages or benefits. That is a whole separate set of funding streams that we use. And by the way, JFS has 50 different funding streams that come in, funds over 100 different programs. I might be flush and cashier, I'm broker, and I'll get out over here, and I can't mix funds. Okay, I wish I could. I wish they would. So that's one of the biggest things we hear. The other one that almost causes my head to spin around a little bit is bonuses and incentives to workers for removal of a youth or a child. That is so false, it's ridiculous. When we take custody of a child, we're actually paying for them. We don't give incentives. I don't say, hey, Jesse, go remove that kid, I'll give you $1,000. That's not how this works, okay? First off, if you've ever seen a trauma that a kid goes through when you remove them, you'll never want to do it anyway. All right, so that again is false information. I had to clarify this. Mill in this instance does not mean million. Boy, do I wish it did. But it doesn't. It's just the millage, and there's inside and outside millage, and I'm not going to worry. You guys could probably educate me a little bit on that. And then the last one here recently, I did a talk show on WTNS, and on Monday morning, I'm actually standing in a conference in Columbus, and I got a phone call said, man, what's going on with this? Medicaid pays for everything for children's services, and they do not leave the levy. That is false. Medicaid, if we can leverage Medicaid, we do, so we don't have to pay for it. But some people, it's out there that they think that Medicaid pays for everything, and it doesn't. Okay, I have to authorize medical treatments for kids to get things done. When we say we get custody, we literally are their parents. It's either myself or my administrator have to sign off on medical releases. We have to sign off on if somebody needs a surgery. I have to sign off and give a kid in our custody permission to go get a driver's license. And yes, we make them kind of jump through hoops, because some of them have some issues. And I'm just not going to let anybody do it. One of the most heart-wrenching things you can do is watch a removal. And I'll give you a little story of one about, I was in my job maybe, this is just before my predecessor left. We had a kiddo on Friday night. It was about 10 minutes till 4. A lady comes in and said, I need a file report. I'm like, okay, how can I help you? Because I used to be our assistant director and our business administrator, so my office was right down front, so I've seen everybody come in. And there's this cute little girl come in. She's about 3. Still had a diaper on. It was dragging the ground. It was so saturated with feces and urine, dragging the ground. And I'm like, all right, let me get you somebody. So I go up and get her an intake worker. And it's like, I'd never seen the process. So I said, hey guys, I'm gonna hang out. I want to see the process, you know? There's days I wish I would know, because I'm telling you what, I'm a pretty big boy and I don't get emotional, but my eyes sweat multiple times thinking about this and these what I'm talking about. But this little girl, I stayed till 8, 9 o'clock that night, and by no means am I the hero. I stayed so I could babysit. I chased this little girl around our agency half the night and having fun. She would only go to me or my predecessor. We were the only males that stayed there. She was comfortable around the male, which okay, whatever. So she climbed, wanted up, was carrying a bottle, so I picked her up, and it's one of the most horrid smells you ever smell. I can't get the taste. It actually tasted it. That's how bad she smelled. Drinking curdled milk, and bugs and everything in her hair was just matted. And I'm like, what in the world? So anyway, I stayed there that night, left, kept in touch with the caseworkers. How's the little one doing? How's the little one doing? About a year and a half later, I'm sitting in my office and I get an email. It says, hey, you want to check this out? I'm like, all right. So I opened it up, and there's this big, blue-eyed, smiling ear-to-ear little girl that we ended up with permanent custody of this young one and found her forever home. She got adopted. And that's the first adoption I ever was invited to. And I'm telling you, if you ever get a chance, go. It's an emotional, gut-wrenching thing. You know, you got a little kid or whatever, even a teenager that goes from what am I doing now to they now have stability. So I still keep tabs on that kid. How's she doing? She's doing amazing, by the way. You know, and I've seen several. You know, I've seen more removals than I want. I've had parents come in and just say, here's my kid, and they leave. And it's like, what? And it is, it's gut wrenching. Like I say, I'm a pretty big boy, I don't get emotional, but there's times that your eyes will sweat or you get filled with anger. A lot of people do, okay? So that's some of what we deal with, you know? So when we're asking for a levy, trust me, if I didn't have to be here asking for a levy, I wouldn't be. But it's out of necessity. That is it. It's out of necessity. If we didn't need it, we wouldn't do it. And so I just ask for everybody's support and vote. When you do go vote, you know, I also included, we have a Citizens Committee for Children's Services Facebook page. I try to put data and stats out there why we're asking what we're doing. I encourage you to go like and follow it if you haven't done that. You know, again, I'll go back to, I'm also part of our accounts at the state level. I'm very involved. It's called PCSAO. I'm the regional chair for our PCSAO committee, and that's about 8 or 10 communities around us from different counties. We get together regionally. And I also sit on the state board of trustees for PCSAO at the state level. And you're going, okay, what's that matter? What that allows me to do is I get the ear of the head of associates, and who in turn have the ear of all of our state legislators, all of the elected officials at the state level. And don't think I'm real quiet when I'm here. Okay, I'm like, why? You guys help, you know, this is a problem statewide. So our association, we are advocating for more dollars. The state and the federal government have given us more dollars. We've gotten an increased allocation last year and this year. Still not enough though. You know, and some people say, well, that's not our problem. That's you and the commissioners. Well, I'll be honest, the commissioners have chipped in a lot of money for us already as well. So, you know, I'm just trying to do what's right and catch us up to a true market value. I get it, times are tough. I'm a taxpayer too. But the sad thing is I can almost promise you, you and your kids are around somebody that's in our system or has been. And you just don't know it. And that's a good thing. If you know it, that's a bigger problem to a sense. The work we do is immeasurable. I'll put the work my staff does up against anybody in the state. And trust me, you know, when I walked out of there today and they're dealing with removal of 6 kids just today alone, I'm shaking my head going, what next? So, but anyway, what question you guys got? Nothing's off limits.
I was gonna say, I think you've covered a lot of those.
Wow.
Yeah, nothing's off limits, you know. You know, I want to educate the public. It's not about winning and losing at this point. This is the facts, guys. So.
And if anybody has a question, they can join this
100%.
Facebook group.
Yeah,
Ask a
Facebook
question.
group, you know, you can call our office, 622-1020, say, I got a question from Jed, and they'll get you right up to me. You know, if you have questions, come find me. I'll sit and talk to you. We'll go to lunch if we have to. I don't care. You know, but I'm educating on, in this instance, just what our levy is after. But our agency does a lot more than this, but this is what makes the papers, you know, so. Feel free to pass this information around. It's not top secret. It's out there everywhere anyway. And like I say, this is only through August. I haven't had a chance to get September's numbers yet because it's always delayed. It's about a month or two behind. So yeah, we're not only squawking locally, I've been at the state level and we're pushing the federal level to increase some stuff for us as well. So it's not just local we're asking.
Thanks for coming, Jed.
Not a problem, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to department reports. Nobody's here today to provide fiscal officer.
Legislation that we have on the table tonight, resolution 2024-38 will receive a third and final reading. And that is to authorize the administrator to submit an application for the Clean Drinking Water Conservation Fund program. So very that we're applying for. Next is ordinance 2024-39 that will receive a second reading, and that is to renew our contract with our village solicitor, Joel Blue, for another 2 years, from January of 2025 to December of 2026. The next one, I'll have Tammy speak to, resolution 2024-40 during her report. Resolution 2024-41, and that is just an update to our credit card use policy. We try to do this on an annual basis, just to update the employees that are committed to use the fuel cards to fill the village vehicles as well as village credit cards. I'm probably gonna need to make a couple of other changes to that before it gets to its third and final reading. I'm waiting to hear back from the fire department on some of their employees that have come and gone, just to make sure I have an accurate listing of those employees in that list. Next on the list is ordinance 2024-42 that will receive its first reading tonight, and that is just after the pay and benefit schedule for the village employees for 2025. And the only change to that is a 2% increase for all village employees. Resolution 2024-43, I'll have Jesse speak to. Resolution 2024-44 is a resolution to add funds that are receiving first reading tonight. And there are, in 2 different accounts in the general fund, we need to add money for the police department wages to get us through the end of 2024. The main reason that we need to add the funds is because of extra overtime that is going to be required with the exiting of Police Chief Walters. He'll be out of the office for some training in December, and we'll basically just not be around in December. And plus we're also 1 person short. So we need to fill those gaps with some extra overtime and also the cashing out of sick time and vacation time for Chris and some other employees. So with that being said, there is $12,000 needed in the wage account and $11,000 needed in the police and fire benefit account. The next 2 line items pertain to the utilities accounts, one in the general fund and one in the street fund. Again, to cover streetlight utilities for AEP. So I underestimated when we added that in earlier this year. To get us through the rest of this year, I need $1,000 in the general fund and $1,500 in the street fund. And the last ordinance, I'll let Tammy speak to, 2024-45. We had a finance committee meeting this evening, and I did speak to the fact that we're looking at new health insurance coverage for village employees, and made the recommendation that we switch our coverage from Zalewski Insurance, who we've been using for the past several years. He's provided great service, an individual broker that we've used, but we have the opportunity to become part of a group where we haven't been in the past. And in that group, under the Ohio Municipal League, we'll be able to leverage those rates as a group rather than an individual entity. So I made the proposal to switch from Zalewski Insurance to USI, and depending on the plan that the employees will select, if we're looking to offer 2 different plans for the employees to choose from. And so that'll save us anywhere from $24,000 to $40,000 a year just by making that switch and being part of that group plan. So with that being said, we had a lot more in-depth discussion during our committee meeting, but I'd like to entertain a motion to get your approval to make that switch.
I make a motion that we change healthcare providers.
I'll second.
Fisher,
Yes.
Wheeler,
Yep.
Percy,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
Cheney,
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
Okay. And you know what, those have been passed around for approval. Today.
All right, nothing from police. Joel, do you have anything tonight?
Are you
Joel,
muted,
wake up.
Joel?
Okay,
Okay.
Tammy.
Okay, good evening. I'll start with the ordinances that I'm speaking on. Ordinance for resolution 2024-40 is a resolution authorizing me to file an application to Ohio EPA to participate in the Ohio EPA Recycle Ohio Grant Program and declare an emergency. Do we need that passed?
It does not need to be
No, it's
passed.
just one.
It just has to be submitted by December 6th.
So it will be, okay.
So you'll get all
On
three
its third
readings.
reading, it's effective, thank you. So, and then the other is ordinance 2024-45, which is an ordinance to adopt the stormwater maintenance and design manual for the village, which has been presented to you all 2 weeks ago. And that is the first reading. Okay. And then to move on, I have property code violations, reminder notices that I sent out to people for, one was unsightly and unsanitary code violation, 132 East Wood Avenue. 3 junk vehicle, 3 separate ones, 108 West 6th, 217 East 4th, and 320 South Kirk. 2 of those have been corrected so far. I have property code violations, preliminary citations went out. 216 East 7th, unsightly and dilapidated, that's in progress of being cleaned up. 520 North George, unsightly, unsanitary, I haven't had contact yet. And 424 North George, pool fencing and maintenance, and unsightly, unsanitary, and junk vehicle, also, all 3 things. And I have not had contact with them yet, as to whether it's being taken care of, so I'll let you know. I just want to comment on leaf pickup, it's going well, they're doing a good job. They pick up every day as needed, as they see things throughout the village. And it's all that's taking place during normal work hours, but it is every day. I wanted people to know that, and it's not specific areas. And they'll continue until all the leaves are down and cleaned up. Our county paving through OPWC is complete for this year. We have portions of Kirk and Center Street were paved. Crosswalk painting and stop bars were also painted in those new areas. And then I had a few added in where it had faded or we had none. And our 3 new crossing areas on Plainfield Road and Main Street and here on South Kirk, those were painted. And next year's paving will not be through the grant, but we would like to include it in the county program. So it'll be on their bid so we can hopefully receive like volume pricing through whoever they would select. Streets that we looked at to be paved are Morning Glory Road, Lavender Lane, and North Vine. And again, that's in 25. And sidewalks updates. We're almost complete with the plans for the sidewalks that we want to do with our 2024 budget, but that won't be ready until January, so it'll be a spring project. And we wanted to add on to that what we want to do for 25 also, and get it all going at the same time. Those will be on, we've talked about all those locations before, Main Street, Wall Street, walking path on the football practice field. We have finishing South Kirk and going up to the north side to connect along Oak up to the Waterworks Park. And then also it will include in there the painting sidewalks or crosswalks and stop bars. Our Safe Routes to Schools plan is almost finished, and that will construct in 26. And that'll be finalized here in the next few weeks, the actual plan and the cost and all. And then lastly, we received notice today finally from the Ohio Department of Development that we can submit for an extension on the grant that we received that was going to pay for the sewer outfall project. So they're offering extensions up until June 30th, 25. So I submitted that today. They'll notify us within 10 days, I think. If we get it or not, but I'm assuming that we get it. So, and hopefully then that will bid, or we're scheduled to open those bids, November 15th. So hopefully we'll know all that before then. And we can open those and that'll be a spring project also. And plan to finish by the end of June. So that's a very good thing. We've been waiting on that a long time. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna touch on my resolutions before we move on. So I was notified that we had the potential of becoming an America 250 city or village. So America 250 is celebrating the 250th anniversary of us becoming the United States. And I put our name in the hat with this resolution passing. It would open up the option for us to apply for a $5,000 grant to celebrate America, which the Chamber of Commerce has said that they would gladly take that donation towards their fireworks and parade festivities for homecoming of 2026 with the theme Happy Birthday America. So that's what the resolution for the semi-centennial, is that correct? Yeah.
That's how I.
Yeah. So that's what that's for, so that we can become a 250 village. So pretty excited about that option and opportunity. So moving on to committee reports, building and property.
Nothing at this time.
All right, business and community development,
Nothing tonight.
community relations.
Want to thank the chamber for the Halloween party they had over this past weekend. It was really successful at the middle school, and we also had a successful trick or treat that same day. That's it.
One more thing to add is the VRWL helped with Morgan Eckleberry and Ryan Cottrell and Vic Allen with their boat ramp. I used it this weekend after I lost my phone, or I was taking pictures of it. It is beautiful, so big thanks to them for that. Revitalization,
Nothing tonight.
finance,
Finance, Amy took care of in her report already.
all right. Fire Dependency Board. We need to vote on 2 members. I believe the 2 members that have been members before have accepted that nomination. So it'll be Christy Maurer and Tim Cheney. You need a motion.
Motion to retain Christy Maurer and Tim Cheney on the Fire Dependency Board.
Second.
Bauer,
Yes.
Howe,
Yes.
Cheney,
Yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Hershey,
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yep.
Anything else for that one? All right. Ordinance,
Ordinance, nothing at this time.
Park Board,
Nothing at this time.
Planning Commission, Local,
Nothing at this time. Tentative meeting to be set. Pending responses.
Great. Planning Commission, County,
Nothing.
Public Safety,
Had an issue recently in the village with solicitors. So in investigation of that, the solicitor's permits need to be revised. If a solicitor shows up to a home in the village, ask for their permit, if they cannot provide a valid one, send them away and contact the police department. School fundraisers are exempt, but they must be accompanied by an adult. There was awesome turnout for trick or treat in the village. WLPD and mounted SO unit were well seen. They provided excellent coverage for the entire event. And I want to thank the police department and the fire department for their participation in the village party and trick or treat.
The only thing I would have to add to that is solicitation by churches, is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Solicitation would be anybody coming to your door to sell something. So, but again, kids fundraisers are not included in that, but anybody else that's selling anything has to have a permit. And, you know, we will update our permits and they will be, we'll announce also if we're gonna have somebody that's allowed to go door to door, but, and as of right now, there's no one with an active permit.
Now, when we issue the permits, does each solicitor carry a copy of that permit?
They will,
So we can ask to see a copy of that permit?
yeah, moving forward, they will.
Okay.
We've only had one issued since I've been here in 30 years, so that I can recall. And that was the book selling company, and they had proper ID on all the time. And
Yeah, she was very nice.
Yeah.
And the recent one that we just received for the solar panels and stuff, they came in, filled the application out, you know, paid their fees and everything, but decided that they weren't coming back, that they're no longer in the area supposedly, so.
yeah, no one should be coming to anyone's door to sell anything. So
All right,
please report that to the police if you do have someone come.
okay, Public Works.
We discussed the stormwater management plan that Tammy was talking about and Fresno sewer rates changes or charges, not changes.
You said we didn't
Sorry.
have any changes. It actually worked out well. Records retention, nothing, rules, nothing. So moving on to the introduction to ordinances and resolutions. 2024-38, a resolution authorizing the village administrator to prepare and submit an application for the Land and Water Conservation Fund Program through the Ohio Department of Natural Resources and declaring an emergency. This is the third reading.
Motion to adopt resolution 2024-38.
Second.
Wheeler.
Yep.
Powell.
Yes.
Percy.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Hany.
Yes.
2024-39, an ordinance to hire a solicitor effective January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2026. This is the second reading. 2024-40, a resolution authorizing the village administrator to file an application to the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency Division of Environmental and Financial Assistance to participate in the Ohio EPA Community and Litter Program. This is the first reading and it's an emergency. 2024-41, a resolution regarding credit card use. This is the first reading. 2024-42, an ordinance establishing 2025 pay and benefit schedule for the village of West Lafayette and repealing ordinances and resolutions in conflict therewith. This is the first reading. 2024-43, a resolution of the village of West Lafayette, Ohio, supporting the Ohio Commission for the United States Semi-Quincennial America 250 Ohio, and this is the first reading. 2024-44, a resolution to amend the 2024 Permanent Appropriations Ordinance 2023-57, adding funds. This is the first reading and an emergency. 2024-45, an ordinance to adopt the Stormwater Maintenance and Design Manual for the Village of West Lafayette, Ohio, and this is the first reading. No other business that I'm aware of. Bills have been around? Yes.
Motion to pay the bills?
Second.
Wheeler.
Yep.
Fisher.
Yes.
Percy.
Yes.
Hany.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
No executive session tonight?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Hany.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
Percy.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Wheeler.
Yep.
All right, that's it. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Joel. Good night. Thank you.
Debbie Sheets is also good for the, or for the water plus Monday, so that's 3 of them. I think we're just waiting. I think we can do it without them.